Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're going to California, specifically Santa Clara County.
Okay.
We're going to look at how they're tackling youth homelessness,
Interesting.
and what lessons, what takeaways there are from their approach.
Sounds good.
Our main source for today is a recent Public CEO article.
Okay.
It highlights some really remarkable progress
Yeah.
in their efforts.
What's really striking about Santa Clara County's approach
Yeah.
is how proactive they are. Instead of reacting to the crisis as it unfolds, they're actively working to prevent it.
Exactly. And they're doing that through targeted initiatives and some really impressive affordable housing projects.
Okay.
The article focuses on two of those projects that just
Okay.
opened recently.
Okay.
The Heartwood Apartments and the Sunrise Pavilion.
Okay, cool.
Together, they provide 55 units
Wow.
for young adults
Okay.
facing or at risk of homelessness.
So they're
Yeah,
specifically for young people.
right. Specifically for young people.
And I think it's interesting, the article highlights
Yeah.
the placement of these projects.
Yeah.
Like Heartwood.
Yeah.
Heartwood is in Mountain View.
Right. Which is, for anyone who doesn't know, is an incredibly expensive area.
Right. It's associated with Silicon Valley,
Right.
high cost of living.
Uh-huh.
So to put affordable housing right there
Yeah.
is a really interesting move.
It is. It's a bold move. But it's not just about the location, right?
Yeah.
It's about catering to the needs within the youth homeless population. So,
Yeah.
Heartwood offers permanent supportive housing, so that's long-term stability,
Okay.
while Sunrise Pavilion
Yeah.
provides transitional housing specifically for
Oh.
young people who are aging out of foster care.
Great.
What do you think is the takeaway from this multifaceted approach?
Well, I think, offering different types of housing
Mm-hmm.
shows that Santa Clara County gets it. There's no one-size-fits-all solution,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
They're recognizing all these different challenges
Right.
that different groups face
And tailoring it to those, yeah.
yeah, and they're coming up with solutions that really target those groups.
And it seems to be working. The article mentioned that since 2021,
Yeah.
Santa Clara has helped almost 2,000 families
Yeah,
find permanent housing
that's incredible.
as part of their countywide Heading Home campaign.
Okay.
Can you tell us about Heading Home? What is that, and how does it address the problem?
Sure. Heading Home is a really ambitious initiative with a big goal
Yeah.
to make family homelessness rare and brief.
Wow.
So they're not just managing it.
Right.
They want to solve it.
2,000 families in just a few years.
Yeah,
That's really impressive.
it really is.
What do you think are the key factors driving their success?
Well, funding has been huge. Back in 2016,
Okay.
voters approved Measure A,
Okay.
which was a $950 million bond
Wow.
dedicated to affordable housing.
So the community is really behind this.
Yeah, they are.
Did that bond contribute to the
Yeah.
Heartwood and Sunrise Pavilion?
Yeah, Measure A was key
Okay.
in making those a reality.
That's incredible. It's a real testament to what can happen when communities decide to make affordable housing a priority.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me that they're focusing so specifically on youth homelessness.
Yeah, it is.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I think they understand demographics and needs.
Okay.
They've recognized
Yeah.
that young people in those transitional ages,
Okay.
they're the ones at the highest risk of homelessness.
Right. And the article talks about how they're backing this up with real investment.
Yeah, they are.
8 projects totaling 181 units
Wow.
are either already in operation
Okay.
or currently being developed
Yeah,
that are specifically
Yeah.
for that age group.
that's amazing.
They're really putting their money where their mouth is.
They are.
The article also mentions the Hub.
Right.
It's a community center
Yeah.
specifically for foster youth.
Uh-huh.
It's going to include housing components, too.
I like that. That's that holistic approach.
Right, right. It's about understanding that housing is one piece of the puzzle,
Exactly.
but there's more that needs to be done.
Exactly.
We've only just started to scratch the surface
Yeah.
of Heading Home.
Yeah.
And what makes Santa Clara County's approach so effective?
Right.
They're clearly going beyond simply providing a roof over someone's head.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that next.
Let's do it.
So it's really inspiring to see how Santa Clara County is making this progress, addressing youth homelessness.
It is.
But as we get deeper into this Heading Home campaign,
Yeah.
it's clear that it's not just about providing shelter. It goes way beyond that.
Yeah.
It's also about those comprehensive support services
Yeah.
that are integrated into these housing projects.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think it's vital, right? It's not just about the building. It's about what's inside, too.
Right. It's like that support system.
Yeah, exactly.
The article mentions case management, career development,
Yeah.
health, and legal services.
It's great.
It's like they're creating this whole safety net for
Yeah.
these young people to
Right.
build their lives on.
Exactly, yeah.
What do you think about that part of the program?
I think it's recognizing that homelessness isn't just about not having a place to sleep.
Right.
It's about so much more.
Yeah.
These services, they help these young people get back on their feet, but also help them really thrive over the long term.
Yeah, it's about that long-term view, right?
Right.
It's not just getting them off the streets. It's like, how do we set them up for success?
Exactly.
How do we help them build stable, successful lives?
Yeah.
It seems like Santa Clara is dedicated to breaking that cycle of homelessness.
Yeah, they are.
And I think a big part of that is the collaboration.
Yeah.
The article talks about the partnerships
Right.
between the county, the cities, the developers, and the housing authority.
It takes a village.
It really does. Nobody can solve this problem alone, right?
Absolutely.
Love everybody working together.
Yeah, and it's working for them.
It is. Santa Clara County is a bright spot.
Yeah.
But how does their approach compare to, the bigger picture nationwide?
Well, it's great what they're doing.
Yeah.
But the problem is huge, right?
Right.
Across the country, it's estimated
Yeah.
that over 4 million young people
Wow.
experience homelessness.
That's a huge number.
It is.
That really shows
Yeah.
how important those bigger changes are
Yeah.
at the systemic level.
Exactly.
Santa Clara County is great, but it's one place.
Yeah, it is.
So what about those larger systemic issues like poverty and the lack of affordable housing?
Yeah, those are huge.
Those are big ones.
They are.
How do we even start to fix that?
It's going to take national level policies, right?
Okay.
We need to raise the minimum wage, expand access to affordable health care,
Right.
and invest way more in affordable housing.
So it seems like we need to do both, right?
Yeah, that's
We need to take care of people's immediate needs,
right.
But we also have to address those underlying systemic issues that caused the problem in the first place.
Exactly, tackling it from multiple angles.
Right.
We need those immediate interventions, like Santa Clara County is doing, but also those big systemic changes to address the root causes.
So it's about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between the short-term and the long-term strategies.
Exactly, yeah.
How do we make sure both get the attention they deserve?
Collaboration is key.
Okay.
We need everybody working together.
Yeah.
Government, nonprofits,
Yeah.
community organizations.
Right.
Heading Home shows how to do that.
It does.
With all those different stakeholders.
Yeah. It's really encouraging to see communities like Santa Clara County leading the way.
Yeah, it is.
But it also really highlights how big this problem is across the country.
It does.
What are the biggest roadblocks you think other communities might face if they try to do this?
Funding's a big one.
Okay.
These programs are expensive.
Yeah.
And not every community has the money or the political will to do it.
And beyond the money, are there other things?
Yeah, I think we need a real change in how we think about this.
Right.
We need to move away from just managing homelessness and move towards a more preventative approach.
Okay, so like Santa Clara County being proactive.
Exactly.
So it's not just about resources, it's about changing how we see it.
Exactly.
And how we talk about it.
Yeah.
This feels so big.
It is.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed. Like, what can we as individuals actually do?
It's true. It can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But even small actions can make a difference.
That's good to hear. So what can we do?
Educate yourself.
Okay.
Learn about what's causing homelessness
Okay.
in your own community.
Okay.
And find out what resources are available.
Understanding the problem is the first step.
Exactly.
What else?
Support the organizations that are already working on this.
Okay.
Volunteer, donate, raise awareness.
Right. And speaking of raising awareness, don't forget the power of contacting your elected officials.
Absolutely.
Advocating for policies that support affordable housing, and mental health services, and other things that can help.
Those are all crucial.
So we've talked about changing the system and individual action and collaboration.
It all matters.
It does, but I think it's easy to forget about the human side of this.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in the numbers.
Right. What are the stories of the young people themselves? How do we make sure their voices are heard?
You're right. We've talked a lot about data and policy.
Yeah.
But it's those lived experiences that really matter.
Yeah.
Their stories help us find solutions and build empathy in our communities.
So how do we bring those stories forward?
Well, we can support organizations that give young people platforms to share what they've gone through.
Right, through writing, art, things like that.
Exactly. And even on an individual level, we can create spaces for these conversations in our own community.
Right, those open and honest conversations.
Yeah, where young people feel safe to share their experiences without being judged.
It's about really listening to what they have to say.
Absolutely. And learning from them.
What are some of those key insights we can get from those stories?
We can really understand the complexities of their journeys, the unique challenges, the emotional toll that homelessness takes.
Right. It helps us go beyond those generalizations about homelessness.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one thing, right?
No, it's not. And it's about seeing Their strength,
Yeah.
their resilience,
Yeah.
their potential.
Their stories remind us that homelessness is a chapter in their lives.
Yeah.
It's not who they are.
It's a circumstance, exactly.
And when we really listen, we see that behind the statistics are real people with dreams and aspirations.
They have so much to offer.
They do.
And their voices need to be part of finding solutions.
It's a powerful reminder that
Yeah.
even in the face of these challenges, there's still that strength and resilience and that desire to thrive.
It is.
And by giving them a platform to share their stories, we can help them, but we also help create better solutions for everybody.
Exactly. More inclusive and more effective.
Right. Wow, this has been a really interesting look at how Santa Clara County is tackling this issue of youth homelessness.
Yeah.
You know, we saw those amazing projects, Heartwood and Sunrise Pavilion, talked about those support services they have.
That's impressive.
Yeah. And how collaborative their Heading Home campaign is.
It's a really good model.
It is. But we also zoomed out a little bit, right? We looked at the bigger picture of youth homelessness across the country and the need for some of those big changes.
Right, at that systemic level,
Yeah.
big policy changes.
Yeah, exactly. And through it all, I think what really stood out to me was how important it is to listen to the young people who are experiencing this firsthand.
Absolutely. Hearing those stories
Yeah.
really changes how we see this.
Right. It reminds us that behind all those numbers, there are real people with their own unique journeys.
Yeah. They have their own struggles and their own triumphs.
Yeah, and by listening to those stories, I think we get a much better understanding of the problem and how to approach it.
And we see how resilient they are.
Yeah.
How much potential they have.
It's pretty amazing.
It is.
So let's go back to that question we started with.
Okay.
You know, imagine a community where youth homelessness is rare.
Right.
What would it take to make that happen?
That's the big question.
It is. What did we learn from this deep dive?
Well, I think Santa Clara County shows us that it takes commitment, right?
Okay.
You need the political will
Yeah.
to invest in affordable housing and those wraparound support services.
Right. And we saw how they target those specific groups,
Right.
like the transition-aged youth.
Yeah. Those targeted interventions can make a huge difference.
They really can't. But it's more than just copying a program, right?
Right. It's a whole change in
Yeah.
how we think about this.
Exactly. Instead of seeing these young people as a problem to be solved, we need to see them as...
Right. See them as people with potential, with their own strengths.
So creating that culture of support and understanding.
Exactly.
That's where it starts.
I think so.
Any final thoughts for our listeners?
You know, I think even though these challenges feel huge, there is hope.
Okay.
There are people out there working hard
Yeah.
to make a difference. And we can all be part of that.
We can.
Educate yourselves, support those organizations, advocate for change, even just listen to someone's story.
It all adds up.
It does.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into youth homelessness.
My pleasure.
We hope you'll learn something, and we hope you're inspired to get involved in your own community.
Absolutely.
It's so important. It is. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.